Hello and welcome back to the Milan save on Football Manager 2023. Now, since the last episode where we had that amazing, sensational comeback in the Champions League against Barcelona, we have played 3 league games off camera and it's not gone well. So following the Barcelona game, we found out that our right winger, Rooney Bargi, was going to be out for 3 weeks with pulled knee ligaments. So that was our first bad sign of things to come. And then we played away from home, technically, against Inter, and we lost 1-0. Sami Vignato thought he'd put us ahead after 24 minutes, but it was disallowed for offside, as so many of our goals seem to be. And then it was Lautaro Martinez who got the one and only goal of the game just before the half an hour mark in a pretty even game, in all honesty, but a 1-0 defeat to Inter. They were below us heading into this game, and they were still below us after the game, but we had dropped down to 4th and they were only a few points off us. We then faced Lazio at home and we went 3-0 down after 35 minutes. A brace from Zaccagni and a penalty from Ciro Immobile consigned us to that 3-goal craziness after 35 minutes. Switched it up a little bit, pushed up our 2 defensive midfielders to centre midfield, tried to get a bit more attacking. Seemed to work as Sami Vignato managed to get a goal just before the break to make it 3-1 heading into half time. Lazetic then got himself on the score sheet on the 71st minute to make it 3-2. But then it was immediately followed up by a Zaccagni goal to score his hat-trick and make it 4-2. And then Rafa Leao with another late consolation goal in the 95th minute meant that we lost 4-3 to Lazio. And then the final game that we played off camera just 3 or 4 days before this Champions League game that we're going to be coming up to in this episode was at home to Juve, and somehow, after 2 very disappointing narrow defeats to Inter and Lazio, we managed to pick up the win against Juve. Now, heading into this game, we had some more bad news. Rooney Bargi, who had just recovered from his pulled knee ligaments that he'd been out for 3 weeks with because there was an international break between the Lazio game and the Juve game, he re-aggravated his injury. He's out for another 3 weeks with pulled knee ligaments. So that wasn't good. Lazetic, though, opened the scoring for us just after the half an hour mark. But then another bad piece of news. Hudson-Odoi, our other right winger, he picked up an injury on the 37th minute. Thankfully, that would only turn out to be a pulled groin, so he's only going to be out for 5 days. So he'll miss the first leg of our Champions League quarter-final, but he should be back for the second leg. Just before half-time, we handed Juve the easiest of equalisers as we were passing the ball around at the back, and then Divine Wrench decides to play the ball back to the keeper without looking and plays it straight to the feet of Dejan Kulusevski, and he smashes it past the keeper, 1-1 before half-time. Thankfully, though, Lazetic was on hand to score a header from a Ryan Gravenberch corner, I should say, on the 68th minute, and then Charles de Ketelaere taking advantage of a misplaced pass from a Juve defender, this time Bremer, with a misplaced pass, and de Ketelaere making them pay, meaning the final score was 3-1 to us. And that leaves the Serie A table looking like this. So we are currently in 4th. We've played a game more than Juve, who we obviously just beat, who are in 5th and just a point behind us. So technically, if you imagine that they're going to win their game in hand, which I would imagine they probably will, depending on who it's against, we're really 5th. So still a lot of work to do. We are only 6 points off Napoli in top, though. However, they do have a game in hand also. Perhaps that game in hand is against Juve. That would be very handy if it was. But 8 games to go in the season for us, and we're still in a pretty decent spot to possibly challenge for a 3rd Serie A title in a row. But you're probably wondering at this point, who is it that we're going to be facing in the quarterfinals? In fact, you probably know already because it'll probably be in the thumbnail for this video. But it is, in fact, Real Madrid. So we've faced and defeated the first of the Spanish giants in the last round, Barcelona, and now we have to try and do it all over again with Champions League, just ever brilliance. Real Madrid, who have their 14 Champions League titles to their name, and it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be another challenge. We'll take a look at how they've done in the past couple of games. So they beat Barcelona in the most recent game to pretty much seal their place at the top of La Liga heading into the last 8 games or so. They also lost to Villarreal though, so that gives us a little bit of hope. They've still got a few players that they currently have, like Courtois and Vinicius Jr., but they've also got some interesting ones. They've got Koulibaly, they've got Declan Rice there, Kyle Walker still playing for them on the bench, Tchouaméni still there. It's not the nicest of teams to have to come up against, but we beat Barcelona, so nothing to say we can't beat Real Madrid. Let's take a look at how they've done in the Champions League so far this season. So they've done pretty well. They drew their first game against Liverpool, then they beat Napoli and Malmo, losing to Marseille, which is a bit of a surprising result, then going on to beat Bayern, Ajax, Wolves and Monaco. Obviously we know it from the last episode, in the first leg of the round of 16, they lost 3-1 away to Shakhtar, but then they managed to beat Shakhtar 4-1 at the Santiago Bernabeu. The first leg of this game is at our home. It's at the San Siro. Never like playing at home first. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just from when the away goals was a rule. But yeah, never comfortable playing at home first. But hopefully we can get a decent lead to take into the second leg against Real Madrid. It's going to have to be a pretty decent lead, because Shakhtar would have thought 3-1 was a decent lead heading into the game in Madrid. And it didn't work out well for them. One other little bit of injury news is that left-back Luka Netz, he is going to be out for this game, or this first leg against Real Madrid. He's got a tight groin, so he's nursing that for a few days. So elsewhere in the Champions League, we've had our first quarter-final first legs played. They were between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, with PSG winning 1-0 after Arsenal going down to 10 men on the 3rd minute. Neymar scoring a penalty to get that only goal. So Arsenal doing pretty well there, actually, with 10 men for most of the game, to only lose by 1-0. And then Villarreal getting battered by Bayern by 3-0 in the other first leg that was played. Alongside our game tonight is Monaco against Man City. So you'd expect that to go one way, but you never know. And there is the game in hand that both Napoli and Juve have. So they are playing against each other. They're playing against each other tonight. So I think we want a draw. The draw will mean that we should stay above Juve in 4th. And we will only be 7 points off Napoli up top. So the lineup that we have for this home first leg against Real Madrid is as follows. We've got Mike Mignon in goal, got Zanoli at right back because Divine Wrench drops to the bench due to his poor misplaced pass in the Juve game. Needs a bit of punishment for that. Kalulu and Tomori are at centre back today. Theo Hernandez at left back. Gravenberch and Benessa in defensive midfield. We've got Alban Laploud, who has played a couple times for us. He's starting today at right wing because of the injuries to Rooney Bargi and Callum Hudson-Odoi, a very, very good young player. He's only 19 years old, and he already looks like he could be a megastar. So probably good for him to get a bit more game time, I guess, especially in the Champions League against such a top opposition as Real Madrid are. At attacking centre midfield, we've got Charles Ketelaere in there. He played quite well coming off the bench. I believe he came off the bench against Real Madrid. He definitely played, not against Real Madrid, against Juve. We've not played Real Madrid yet. It's still early in the morning. Charles Ketelaere did well against Juve, so he is in the squad for today's first leg. And Rafa Leao also in there at left wing. And then Marko Lazetic, who's been doing quite well up top, keeping Benjamin Šeško out of the side, actually, since Šeško's injury kept him out. Now on the bench, we are lacking a little bit. We have only got 11 subs from a possible 12. That is because of a mixture of injuries and just ineligible, unregistered players. So not much I can do there. I think I probably could have done something, because the ineligibility comes from the fact that I've said that these guys can play in an under-20s game today. So my fault, really. But Walker's misplaced pass goes straight to the left back, Theo, who pounces on it. Now Theo on the left-hand side gets the ball into the box. Ketelaere's there with a header, and it's just over the bar from Charles Ketelaere. Good start from us. Excellent awareness from Theo Hernandez to pounce on that misplaced pass. So we made it to half-time. It's 0-0. It's a pretty even game. Not too many chances, or proper chances so far. You can see we've outshot them, but our XG isn't that much higher than theirs. The other game today seems to be the more entertaining one that you'd probably want to watch if you were a neutral. Man City winning 2-1 as the latest I've seen from that game against Monaco. Both Alban Laploud and Lazetic are not doing well ratings-wise at the minute, so I think we might hook them off the field. We do have Gouveia on the bench, who I hadn't even thought about playing at right wing, he's been playing at left wing all season. He could have actually started the game at right wing instead of Laploud. So we'll see how he does when he comes on, and Lazetic is going to drop to the bench, and Šeško can come on and try and get himself back into starting 11 contention if he gets a goal against Real Madrid. I mean, I can't really not start him in the next leg. It's Gouveia. It's the first we've seen of him since he's come off the bench at half-time. It's a through ball looking for Šeško, and that is intercepted by Rice. And now Camavinga coming away with the ball into our half. Raspadori out to Walker on the right-hand side. Comes inside a little bit. Through ball to Raspadori. Raspadori! And he should have scored that so bad there. One-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he skies it over the bar. Just about an hour gone, we've got a lot of tired legs out there. A lot of these players playing, obviously, in the Juve game at the weekend. So I'm going to have to withdraw few of them at least. Rafa Leao, we are going to swap Gouveia to the left wing. We'll take Rafa Leao off. We'll bring on Sami Vignato at right wing. It's not really a position he's played for there. He's not played in that position for us at all, I don't think, but he can play at right wing, so we'll see how he gets on. Got two other subs that we can make. I'm thinking probably a defensive midfielder needs to come on. We don't really have another left back. We've got Wrench who can play at left back, but he's never really looked comfortable when we've put him there, so I don't want to do that. We'll drop Benessa off the field just because he's got a yellow card as well as being quite tired. That seems a bit risky. So Gunnar Dwath can come on for him. And with one sub left to make, we'll just leave that there to be used in case we get an injury, because we have been scarred by that many, many times in the past. Throw in deep in the Madrid half. It's Thiago Gouveia. Ball falls to Zanoli now. And then Gouveia, Real Madrid are putting the tackles in, but the ball just seems to be attracted to our player's feet as Gravenberch gets the ball back from that clearance. And now Kalulu to Zanoli. He's getting back into position now, the right back, after being over the other side of the pitch to take that throw in. Gunnar Dwath, chipped ball over to Vignato. Vignato, can he do it? Vignato! It's 1-0 off the bench. Sami Vignato playing in a position that he's never played for us before in, and he has got the opening goal in this epic tie. I don't think I've built up how big a game between Milan and Real Madrid is. They are two of the most winningest clubs in Champions League or European Cup history, and Vignato has just etched his name in the history books by opening the scoring in this first leg with just under half an hour to go. Gravenberch with a corner. It'd be great if we could get a second here. Gravenberch, Gunnar Dwath! It's in! Lucas Gunnar Dwath! It's the substitutes. The substitutes are running riot. It's a super sub kind of day. Lucas Gunnar Dwath doubling our lead. And this is looking perfect. Of course, Shakhtar had a 2-goal lead heading into their second leg at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. So maybe if we can get another goal, we could be in the best position possible. And Theo Hernandez running forward with the ball, trying to do exactly that. Gets the ball back from Fikayo Tomori. Now it's Lucas Gunnar Dwath, who scored that wonderful header just a short time ago. Now Theo Hernandez back with the ball. He seems to be the outlet for our team today as Gravenberch finds himself with the ball in the middle of the field. Ball forward to Vignato. Vignato needs to cross it. He tries to shoot. Courtois saves, but not the second time. And Vignato with a brace today. He's come off the bench and he's shown me why he maybe should have started the game. It's 3-0 against Real Madrid at the San Siro. Courtois with an excellent save from the first effort from Vignato. Look at that ball from Gravenberch as well. I thought Vignato was going to pull the ball across the cross. Courtois saves the shot, and then Vignato somehow squeezes that from the narrowest, the tightest of angles past Thibaut Courtois, and we are in dreamland right now. 3-0. Gouveia cuts inside, through ball into Ketelea, controlled beautifully, played down to Šeško. Rice clears that, but it's going to fall at the feet of Theo Hernandez. You can get a ball in here possibly. He does so. Vignato with a header, and how has that gone in? He's got a hat-trick. He's got a hat-trick off the bench. Sami Vignato has given us a 4-goal lead at home to Real Madrid. This is beyond belief. What has happened to us in the Champions League? League form this season a bit meh, but Champions League, the past two games is insane. 4-0 at home to Real Madrid. Vignato, you absolute hero. And there could still be more. Gunnar Dwath on the ball now, inside our half. What would be great is if we can keep a clean sheet. That would be fantastic, just to add to our happiness as Vignato controls the ball beautifully down the right-hand side. Chance to get a ball in. He does so. It's deflected off the defender and then should be cleared by Real Madrid. But Rodriguez doubles on the ball. It's to Ketelea, and Ketelea scored this time. He's got involved on the action. Šeško with the assist. Terrible defending from Real Madrid once more. It's 5-0. It's 5-0. We've scored in the past two Champions League games. We've scored 5 goals against Barcelona and Real Madrid. Gunnar Dwath making the defender pay there. It fell to Šeško, who played it across to Ketelea, and he placed that past Thibaut Courtois to give us an unbelievable 5-goal lead. against Real Madrid. And there is the full-time whistle. It's ended 5-0 here. I'm a bit speechless. I don't know what's gone on. So elsewhere in the craziness of the Champions League today, Man City beating Monaco by 4-1. They went a goal down. But is that Brennan? That's not Brennan Johnson, is it? That's Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson's playing for Monaco. Current Nottingham Forest star in real life. Brennan Johnson playing for Monaco. Interesting. Scoring in the Champions League against Man City. But Man City made them pay pretty much for scoring against them, as Haaland got a brace, De Bruyne and Rodri each getting a goal too. So after the highs of beating Real Madrid in the Champions League, it was back to normal Serie A life as we faced an away game at Monza. And we made 7 changes for this game. Didn't really make a difference. We managed to win 3-0. Leao and Gouveia getting our first 2 goals, and then Vladislav Narudny coming off the bench to get his first ever goal for Milan. This is Vladislav. Probably not shown you him that many times. He hasn't played for us that many times, but he is now officially a Milan goal scorer. And that result, mixed with the fact that Juve were defeated by Napoli in that game in hand that was played at the same time as the first leg of the Madrid game, means that we are back in the title race somewhat. We are third now. We're level on points with Juve, but 3 points clear of Inter. We've all played the same number of games. Napoli are 6 points ahead of us, but we do still have to play them. So we're still in with a shout of another league title, and definitely in with a good shout of qualifying for the Champions League through our league position for next season. But of course, it's back to the Champions League now for the second leg against Real Madrid. They incidentally beat Girona by 1-0 in their one game since the first leg. Hopefully, we don't throw this away. We've got an excellent lead heading into this second leg. The other game being played today is also Man City against Monaco. Man City with a good lead heading to their home leg against Monaco. So you'd imagine they're probably going to get through. So this is the lineup for the second leg against Real Madrid. We've got Mignon in goal as always. Zanoli is at right back. Kalulu and Tomori in central defence with Theo Hernandez at left back. Gravenberch alongside Benessa in defensive midfield. Sami Vignato in at right wing. Leao is playing attacking centre midfield today with Thiago Gouveia on the left wing. And Benjamin Šeško is in for Marko Lazovic, who is still recovering a bit his condition from the previous game against Monza. So we're going to have to be really careful in this game. Real Madrid are going to be probably coming out the traps flying, as you imagine. Rodrigo running down this right-hand side, trying to prove me right here. Ball into the box, but Zanoli can collect that, and hopefully we can get on a counter-attack. Real Madrid know that they really need to try and get a goal as early as possible to kick-start their comeback, and that's exactly what they're going to try and do now with Vinicius Jr. moving forward with the ball. It's good tackle from Rafa Leao, though, and we can get on the counter-attack. Rafa Leao advancing forward. He's not got much support. I think Šeško's up there with him, but Militao comes across and makes a good tackle and plays that back to Courtois. Very patient build-up play from us. It's all we need to do. If we just keep the ball for the entire game, then we're through. As Benessa plays a wonderful through ball to Vignato. Vignato needs to get a ball in here. It's Vignato across the face of goal, and Rafa Leao has somehow just fumbled that into the back of the net, and we have a 1-goal lead away from home against Real Madrid. It's 6-0 on aggregate. That is exactly what Real Madrid did not need in the opening 10 minutes, or really at all in this game. It was Benessa with a wonderful ball to Vignato. Vignato gets down to the byline, pulls it across the face of goal, and Leao just nicks in there ahead of both Courtois and the defender Militao to put us 6-0 up on aggregate. Free kick just inside the Madrid half. It's Kalulu to take it. Can we get a second just before the half an hour mark? Kalulu gets the ball back from Gravenberch. And now Gravenberch with some space to move into. Forward to Leao. Leao with a shot from range. It's off the bar and it's gone out for a goal kick. Rafa Leao looking to get his second goal of the game. He seems to be really making that attacking centre midfield role his own at the moment. Obviously, we've usually played him at left wing, but seems to be enjoying being an attacking centre midfielder. Incidentally, Man City are now 1-0 up in their second leg against Monaco. Erling Haaland, surprisingly, we're very surprised to know, has got the opener in that one as we head to half-time. 1-0 up, 6-0 up in aggregate at the Santiago Bernabeu, and it does not look, touch wood, like Real Madrid are going to have any sort of fight back in this tie. So we're just past the hour mark. We're going to start resting players, which is an unbelievable thing to do at the home of the possible La Liga champions, Real Madrid, but it's happening. So Rafa Leao is going to make way. He's very tired out there. Charles de Ketelaere coming on for him I'm tempted to bring Narudny on, but I feel like this is a bit too big of an occasion for him. So we'll not do that. Gouveia is going to make way, and Hudson-Odoi can come on for him, and then Benessa is also going to come off the field, and we will bring on Gunnar Duath for him. It's Valverde now for Real Madrid, looking to get some sort of goal as Hudson-Odoi makes a slide tackle, winning the ball, but it comes back to Valverde. Valverde with the ball forward to Kingsley Coman. It's Coman with a chance, and Coman with the goal. Surely a consolation at this stage. 20 minutes left of the tie. His 7th goal of the season, though. Kingsley Coman makes it level on the night. 6-1 on aggregate. Hudson-Odoi unfortunate with that tackle that he didn't manage to retain possession. Beautifully timed run by Kingsley Coman, and then Mignon really should have done better with that shot from Kingsley Coman. Free kick for Real Madrid. They seem to be waking up now. Is it too little too late though, as they get a header, and there's Camavinga with the header, and it's just over the goal. Just under 15 minutes left, and we're going to make our final. We're going to make one more substitution. It's going to be in defensive midfield again. Gravenberch making way for Aletu, simply because Gravenberch is looking very tired. It's the same reason that all of the subs have been made today. We don't need to change the game at all. We're pretty much through, barring some sort of calamitous just drop off in our performance, as we have a free kick to possibly extend our lead. It's Teo who takes it. That ball is over everyone, and Rice is going to collect it at the back post for Real Madrid. Camavinga now plays it inside, looking for Rodriguez, who just about gets there before our attacking player, and now Rodrigo with the ball into Valverde in the centre of the field. Coman now, the goal scorer, out wide to Pepe. The best space to run into here. Real Madrid have definitely woken up within the last 20 minutes of this tie, which is a bit too late, really, in all honesty, as Valverde has the ball. A good tackle from Gunnar Duath, but Valverde manages to keep the ball somehow. Once again, he did that earlier with Hudson-Odoi's challenge. Now Vinicius Jr. with the ball in the edge of the box. Vinicius Jr. with a shot, and that's straight at Mignon, and Mignon manages to parry that over the bar. Coman with the corner from the right-hand side, and Militao was there with the header, and that is over as well. Elsewhere in the Champions League, Monaco have drawn level on the night against Man City, but it's not really going to make a difference. They are already heading out. And speaking of heading out, Real Madrid are out of the Champions League. We have beaten them 6-1 on aggregate, 1-1 on the night in Madrid. And who are we going to get in the semi-finals of the Champions League? We're into the semi-finals. It's happened. Finally, we've managed to do well in the Champions League for once. And apparently the draw for the semi-final was already made, so we will be facing Manchester City in the semi-final of the Champions League. That is a big game. I know it's the Champions League where you always face the big teams, but we have had a pretty tough run-in with Barcelona, Real Madrid, and now Man City in the semis. If we can beat Man City, then we'll be playing against either Villarreal, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, or PSG in the final. But of course, we need to get past are they the reigning champions of the Premier League, or did they not win it last year? Yes, we're going to have to get past the reigning champions of the Premier League. It's going to be tough. So looking ahead to the next episode, obviously we'll play both legs of the Champions League semi-final against Man City. In the meantime, off camera, I'll play the games against Fiorentina, the big game against Napoli, and the game against Empoli. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to get all my content when it comes out, hit the notification bell to stay notified, and I'll see you next time.